Touchstone Pictures presents Tom Selleck, Steve Guttenberg, Ted Danson.
Jack!
Whew, Angela, whew. Boy, you look different. What happened?
I'm dressed.
That's it.
Three incredibly eligible men hoping to meet some incredibly perfect women.
So many women in so little time.
Now, at last, they're about to find that one girl who will sweep them off their feet.
That's a baby.
It's a baby.
Of course it's a baby. It's your baby.
Touchstone Pictures presents a comedy about three dedicated bachelors and the one woman in the world they couldn't live without.
Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Do, 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 do. I hate to leave you, but I really must say, good night, sweetheart. Good night.
Three men and a baby.
I think she did a doodle. Your turn to change her.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Midfield College Film Society. You know, I was really relieved the other day when we saved the world from a giant asteroid and saved our podcast and all that, but it immediately, is back to the grind over here. I mean, first my giant rowing machine broke. The next thing, my squash match got canceled downtown. I mean, it's already been stressful at work, and of course my girlfriend also has a career, so that's a little awkward when I'm trying to get her to do whatever I want whenever I want. Add to that, my investments aren't holding up too hot with the savings and loan crisis we got going on. I mean, sometimes I feel like poor baby Jessica down in a well. No one there to help me at all, by myself. I wear a Swatch. I just got Michael Jackson's bed, and it's good. I have a great entertainment center. I love going to NBA games and watching his airness and saying to my friends, how did he do that? I mean, sometimes I go to a Broadway show, even if I skip out on the second act, but crime is rising in the cities. Drugs! Street toughs just dotting the streets. Stop and frisk! What can I do? That's when I remember I live in a giant penthouse with three of my closest friends who just so happen to be my esteemed colleagues here at the Film Society. I'm going to start off with a guy who invented Johnny Duck, a great illustrator and character developer, my brother Michael Crawford. Michael, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, is it going to bother you guys if I put these raw eggs in a blender and then drink it? Is that going to mess up your little recording over there?
It's fine. We got to work out. We got to do things to impress the dames.
I know.
Of course,
they're coming by nonstop.
Well, I guess we better ask this other guy over here. He's the actor. He needs quiet on the set and all that. He's probably got another shoot coming up. That's Mr. Andy Brown. How's it going, Andy?
Have you seen my latest reviews? I mean, they've been pretty good, but I gotta go to Venezuela to do another movie. I don't really want to, but I got to.
Yeah,
but anyway, I'm here tonight.
So busy. The busiest guy over here, this guy. Well, and of course, we have the architect, the self-appointed leader of the group, the president of our esteemed association. That's Mr. Robert McSwain. Robert, how you doing tonight?
I thought you were going to be the architect. I was going to be Miss Hathaway. Like, that's what I was.
Oh, no. I am a character, not in the movie, but just ethos
just a
of
New
the
York
city.
Character. Okay.
I'm the guy, Bagels.
Well, I've been trimming my mustache and been rolling up my architect's stuff, blueprints, and I just walk around with a hard hat on, looking important. So,
the greatest city in the world. I guess we better tell everybody what we're watching. Michael, what are we watching tonight?
Gabagoo! We're watching the 1987 movie, Three Men and a Baby. Three Men and a Baby.
hey.
I put in my notes, Three Men and a Little Baby.
And a little baby, huh?
That's
Three Men and a Wee Babe.
Yeah, a little tiny baby. Yeah, that's right, prequel.
This was directed by Leonard Nimoy, my friends. He R. Spock himself, formerly of Body Wars at the Wonders of Life.
Yeah, did this get him that gig?
The man himself. Yeah, this must have got him in good with Hello. and he just
This is his claim to
graduated.
fame, right? This is like his most famous thing he did, I think.
Gotta be. Yeah.
That's what he's known for.
And
Yeah.
in search
He's
of,
mostly known for this.
actually.
Yeah. Oh, in search. That's right.
Oh, there you go.
And that one Simpsons episode with the monorail. This was written by Jim Cruikshank and James Orr, but it was based on a film, a French film, Trois hommes et un coffin by Colin Serrault. This was like an Eisner ploy of this era, was getting French movies and remaking them as low-budget comedies. Did the same thing with Down and Out in Beverly Hills and some others too, I think.
Bonjour.
Great.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
I'm Michael
We're
Eisner.
going to get
Bonjour.
the French movies. We're going to get the dentist to make them. It's perfect.
Parlez-vous.
Then we'll build a theme park in Paris. It'll be great.
That's right. We
Je
can play his
declare.
intro to, yeah, that's right.
Euro Disney ouvert.
Ouvert. Maintenant.
Maintenant.
Sorry, maybe.
This movie has a cast of some starring Tom Selleck, Steve Guttenberg, Ted Danson, and an
The
appearance
Ted
by
Danson?
the Ted Danson, and an appearance by the Celeste Holm in one scene, but still they got Celeste Holm for some reason. It's got music by Marvin Hamlish, as if it wasn't of an era enough. You got to have that Hamlish. This movie, like I said, as Jeff put it, a French movie paid for by dentists, made on a very small budget. Not only the biggest box office hit of the year 1987, made $240 million worldwide.
Wow. Good
I had
grief.
no idea it was that big. I remember seeing it, but
And that was in the days
Yeah.
when, like, being $100 million movie was a big deal. And it was made on like 10 million.
This is their real claim to fame, is they would do this and obviously home video, right? But
Yeah.
but they would get these leads that for some reason, like you look at Bette Midler, who is like not like A-list, right? These guys were like big TV stars, but they hadn't been in movies really. And
Gutenberg
so
had been in, like, he did the
Gutenberg.
Academy.
Yeah, it's weird that Gutenberg was the only one who
Gutenberg
really.
is- yeah.
Yeah.
True. But anyway, they're doing it for very cheap and they're getting a huge turnaround. And, that played to get them into the catbird seat. They really turned the company's fortunes around very quickly with this.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a formula and it worked. And as I was watching it, I just kept thinking, $240 million. That's a lot
pretty
of
wild to
lot
to
of
ponder.
coked up people in the audience.
A lot of fit drug addicts watching
Yes.
this movie.
Yes.
Well, anything else to say before we depart to New York?
No, just
I mean, did anyone see this in the theater?
I
No.
can't recall seeing this one.
I can't. I saw it a lot. Like, I must have seen it in the theater, and then we got it somehow. Like, either we recorded off a TV, but we had it recorded because I watched it. I mean, more than 3 or 4 times, I'd say.
I could see this playing to your mom, Robert.
Yeah, I think she really liked it.
Prolonged scenes of male child care, I imagine, would have her
Hairy
rolling
chests.
on the floor. Yes, yeah. Well, that too.
I will say that I'm sure I have seen this at some point. I know I have had to, but there are certain like brief scenes that I knew by heart because they were like literally everywhere during this period,
Yeah.
like on commercials and in the Disney MGM studios.
Well, yeah, I was going to say we're
everywhere. Yeah.
2 for 2 this season on the Great Movie Ride finale sequence because there was 3 men and the baby there too.
That is a great point. Yeah. Great movie.
I don't know. I can't remember if I saw it in a theater. I want to say that I did see it in a theater, but like you, I had this recorded off of, I think, like the movie channel. Do you guys remember the movie channel?
Oh yeah. TMC.
That's when I think I had it recorded. And so I've seen this movie many, many, many times, but I had not seen it probably in, I don't know, probably 20 years.
It's been at least that long for me. Yeah.
It was not in the Crawford canon, but I feel like, when I was talking to my wife about it, I was like, I don't think I've seen this movie. And then when I watched it, I was like, yeah, I remember that. So I guess I've watched it enough in, 30-minute intervals on TV through the past 30 years that
I enjoy the every few years on like social media. There's a mass realization where somebody watches this and discovers that the movie about like wacky Ted Danson changing a diaper actually has a completely atonal subplot. And they're like, whoa, that's what this movie's really about. And it'll be a thing on social media for a bit about everybody being like, what, are you kidding me? Like the movie with the men and the baby. So yeah, that's what I thought of. And yeah, it is quite a thing.
It definitely hits differently now, especially after having kids. There's just so many things that I never thought was funny before. And this time I was like, oh man, I know that. I recognize that right there. But yeah.
All right. Well,
all those yuppies were right.
That's right. It's true. It's hard. Let's go to the big city and then into the world of 3 men and a baby. A little baby, a little wee baby. Well, again, if you haven't caught up, Touchstone Pictures presents. And boys, it doesn't get much more Touchstone Pictures presents than this one. And to add to it, we have the Silver Screen Partners 3 funding this. Get your drills down and fork up the money. It's time to pay for this movie. Those guys saw a good ROI on this one. Am I right?
Yeah, they were retiring from the floss business after that.
That's right. Forget it. Well, we open up to the wonderful strains of Bad Boy by Miami Sound Machine. Okay, I am all in now. You got Miami Sound Machine involved. Some good stuff.
Pretty intense starting off with a montage. They hit you right in the chops with this one.
They also hit you in the font department with a nice Art Deco font. You got a real aesthetic vibe starting off. A little diner vibes going on here. I
was getting like Miami Beach, but I was like of the era, or Miami Subs.
Definite Miami Subs vibes. Kind of late nights, Subs. We have Steve Guttenberg is painting a mural. We see Ted Danson touring someone in the room and introducing him. Tom Selleck assaulting a mason. We see Steve Guttenberg and another lady. There's too much going on. It's all sped up. It's chaos. There's painting and renovating and touring. And ladies and men. Guttenberg presents Selleck with a plaque that says designed by Peter Mitchell, architect, which he likes. So I guess Tom Selleck is Peter. We see a nerdy lady in the 80s sense, meaning she's a very beautiful woman who wears glasses and has her hair up. Going in to meet Ted Danson, she comes out completely made over with her glasses off, and Danson's in a smoking jacket, one of many he would wear. So that's good stuff. More and more ladies These guys are terrorizing the neighborhood. Guys, what's your first feel of these guys as characters?
You know, when I was younger, I remember seeing this thinking, wow, these guys are cool. And then
that's going to be me someday.
That's going to be me. I can't wait. That's going to be awesome. And then when I watched it this time, I was like, what a bunch of slutty men.
That's what's right there in my notes. Yeah, these guys are kind of jerks.
I wrote, these guys are not endearing me.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Not likable right off the bat for these guys.
But yeah, I guess in 1980, I was 8, 9 years old watching this. Like, I'm thinking, why was I watching this when I was 8 or 9?
That's a great question because it was
a
80s.
very good question. Yeah,
and did I put my peanut butter and jelly sandwich down and yell back to my mom, "Hey, these guys have a lot of women."
Man, they've got a big mural in their house of themselves.
Yeah, a temple to themselves.
Yeah. Ooh, that's deep. So Danson and Selleck present Guttenberg with a card that says mural by Michael Kellum. So I guess Guttenberg is Michael. Champagne is popped. The three celebrate with their fancy mural completed. Enough of them at a cabaret show. And we cut to the apartment as people arrive via taxi. They're having a big gala in their giant apartment. Guys, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think the set designer went a little overboard on this one.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's a little much. Yeah, I couldn't figure out like the layout. It was just all over the place.
It's giant.
Like, tunnels going to places.
Like a VR walkthrough or something, so I could just like explore it because it's just like endless. It's like the rat scale in Chapel Hill.
See, I always thought it was
it's like the rat scale.
See, I always thought it was big because Pete was the architect, and so he had. That's the way I figured.
I think that's true. In the end,
I think you're right. You're right.
That is referred to. Yes.
Okay.
But it's
money.
Huge.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of people at this party. We see Michael doing a Robin Leach impersonation very loudly with a giant camcorder.
All right. And right away, though, I was like, I used to think, wow, Steve Guttenberg was great. And then as soon as he came on camera doing the Robin Leach thing, I was like, I just started cringing. And did anyone else feel that, or was that just me?
I got a note here. Guttenberg, not much of an actor.
No, I mean,
yeah, there's a reason he's been
sorry, Steve.
For a while.
I mean, Mahoney, I mean, he was perfect for Mahoney. But this is, I guess, when he started kind of going down.
Well, you get, Selleck and Danson on board. You're going to look not as good. Anyway, he says hi to Peter and his main squeeze, Rebecca Davidson. I can just see that in the script. Rebecca Davidson. Beckers. He asks her what she sees in his roommate. She says he has the most amazing and grabs Michael's front. Guys, this is mature. Touchstone.
Inappropriate.
Robert, put the peanut butter and jelly down and go play Nintendo. Go away. Go play the Lego Pirates.
Yeah, lots of that. Yes.
But it's just PG. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, right. That's what we were discussing that earlier today. My wife and I were like, because we were talking about the movie, and James was just like, my son is like, was it PG? And I was like, yeah, it's PG. And she was like, well, PG in 87 was a little different than PG now.
Yeah. Still in the wake of the PG-13 arrival. Yeah. Also, I mean,
I was going to say, 80s party scenes, it always just makes me cringe now too. I don't know what it is. It just feels so sleazy too.
It's so sleazy.
This happening. It's pretty cringy. Yeah.
Yeah. Super sleazy. You're right.
Pretty sleazy. Well, Peter is picking up babes in front of his main squeeze. Guys, this is one of those open relationships I keep hearing about among these professionals. I guess
about it on HBO.
That's right. This is quite the party. Danson is here in the smoking jacket. His name, we find out, is Jack. He's playing an old jukebox, going along with the whole soda shop aesthetic. We get more Miami Sound Machine. Conga, as this party takes it up another notch. Man, Robert, great lighting array in this apartment, right? They've got the little spots out there and everything.
Yeah, maybe Ted Danson did some lighting in his as an actor.
It's amazing.
Because somebody
They've
was
got, neon installations. It's amazing.
Yeah, just like a hung spot array.
Got some Fresnels up there. And
tungsten? I don't know. What is going on? What are they doing? Well, Peter asks Jack if he's going to do a movie. So Jack is the actor. Cut to Michael doing a little flirtation in his boudoir with a puppet of Johnny Cool, a character that Michael happens to draw, and I died. And I thought of Michael Crawford. Johnny Cool.
Johnny Cool. Johnny Cool here.
Johnny Cool.
The cat about town.
Problem is, well, yeah, go ahead.
At this point, I was thinking to myself, I wrote down, why are these guys friends? Because I could not figure that out. I was like,
a great question.
The only thing I can think of is my theory is they're fraternity brothers, where they were all met in college and then they partied that way. And then they just kind of stayed. And
what if they saw something like a murder together and were sworn to secrecy and had to keep the secret?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Mutually assured, secret.
Well, I looked up their ages here, and Ted Danson's 40 years old when he made this movie.
Wow.
He's playing, I guess, that in this. Tom Selleck is 42, and Steve Guttenberg is 29.
Whoa.
Wow. I mean, Danson looks much younger. Selleck does not.
Yeah, Selleck looks like Selleck.
He looked like his 30s.
Yeah, he looks younger than 42 for sure. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
I did not realize Guttenberg was that much younger.
I did not know that.
It's weird and wild
stuff. It does make sense though, because his performance is much more uneven, I think.
Selleck's always a master. I mean, was Selleck ever on Inside the Master's Studio, Actor's Studio, whatever? I'd love to watch that one.
I'd watch that one.
Oh.
Higgins.
You never got the role of Indiana Jones. Let's talk about it. Anyway. The puppet of Johnny Cool, who Michael draws. Problem is, this woman has just broken up with someone and is having a hard time. So Michael is getting friend zoned, guys. That friend zone. Michael's trying to talk to her.
Sensitive guys are.
Yeah. Michael wants to be the rebound, but he just gives up because he's too nice. He's too nice.
Johnny Cool is the real Michael, but he can't really bring himself
That's right.
to be.
That's a whole nother movie. Johnny Cool also very Chester Cheetah adjacent.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Michael's so nice. He has a different woman in the in the apartment every time we see him. Anyway, back outside, we get a lot of great shoe foley as the people dance to conga. I felt like I was watching Armageddon with the leg braces again, with a close-up shot of the feet. Clomp, 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 clomp.
Again, I was thinking B unit here. I was from Armageddon stuff. I was like, there's the B unit, hard at work here, getting the foot shots.
I mean, really, it goes back to Armageddon every time. Selleck could have been Harry Stamper. Nobody was asking him to do it.
Oh,
that would have been good.
Yeah. He could have been Truman, too.
He would have been a great Stamper. Oh, a good Truman. Yeah. It's before the reverse mortgage Selleck,
I loved Tom Selleck, though.
I
still like Tom Selleck.
I don't know if I like him anymore.
I'm
willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. I really do love Tom Selleck as well. Guys, what do the other two think about Tom Selleck?
I don't know.
I like him. I have no opinion. Not
Selleck
like
neutral?
So, I'm sort of Selleck neutral.
Keep my powder dry in case I need a reverse mortgage someday. I don't want to, go in with bad vibes.
I really did like Selleck, though. I mean, I enjoyed Magnum PI.
I love Magnum PI.
He was just so cool back in the 80s. He was the cool guy.
And then he was in all these westerns with Sam Elliott, and I really liked Tom Selleck.
Got that Sam Elliott glow on him.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Speaking of how cool he is, he's running film on 3 TVs in his film room.
Whatever this AV
is
setup.
That room, like when I was a kid, I loved that setup. I thought that is what I want right there.
Oh man, yeah. You got the silver TVs too, which was always the coolest back then.
Yeah, holding court, just like really showing these guys.
Yeah, what is he doing? Showing stuff from the forum, like this is it. This is it. What is
West
up with
a shot? Wasn't it?
That's right.
Yeah, the greatest clutch shot in history.
I feel like this is like when the NBA was really taking off, and there's just this meme in my brain of 80s cosmopolitan basketball fans. I referenced it in my intro, just like. It's funny to me. But yeah, there's a whole room of these guys. And they're just like, yeah, what? Magic Johnson. My
question is, why the 3 small TVs? Like, why not like have a giant TV? Because they had giant TVs back then, and that would have been like a flex.
Yeah. Oh, they would have had like,
here's my giant TV, you know?
That one with the projector, with the RGB projector.
Like the 3-colored projector, yeah.
It's nice.
You'd always see like a Pizza Inn.
Yeah.
Yes. Like showing something on the wall.
Well, back outside, Jack is talking to a guy who needs a favor. He says he's having a package delivered tomorrow. Dun, dun, dun. Always bad news in the movies. But he's going to a shoot in San Francisco. Jack says, that's fine. Just have the package delivered here. While he's talking showbiz, he's trying to talk this guy up to get gigs. You know, the gig economy. Well, the guy says the package will arrive tomorrow and be picked up on Thursday. Arriving tomorrow, picked up on Thursday. It's a very sensitive issue, so do not mention it to anybody. Well, how many people are at this party? Good Lord. What is the capacity on this apartment?
Like in my entire life, I haven't known this many people.
I mean, people are stealing stuff out of this place for sure. They don't know them. They don't know them. Like these people got enough money to get a mural for themselves. I'm taking some bubbly. Or I'm taking a Magnavox over here or something.
Taking some of those tapes.
Yeah, I'm taking these tapes.
I'll watch that shot at home.
Happy birthday, Peter. He has a crane cake with a action figure attached and like real candles.
Real candles.
Was interesting.
I love the full size candles. That was great.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah, there wasn't much to the denouement of the party. We automatically cut to a shot of caterers tearing down the party. Peter's trying to get Rebecca to hang around, and but she can't because she has a job. Women in the workplace, guys.
Shoulder pads.
What is the nature of their relationship? It's the 80s shoulder pads. Anyway, she has a pre-trial meeting tomorrow. She's going to wear a pantsuit for that. But, man, this is a great reason for Touchstone Pictures. Again, this is mature adult content, guys.
This is adult themes.
We can't talk about this stuff in Disney movies, and we need to because this is like real life. We need this in the 80s. We're trying to figure out 2 sexes in the workplace. How does it work? I don't understand. I'm just a caveman lawyer. It was unfrozen.
we need crack.
We need crank to make this work. How are we supposed to have babies? Anyway, Michael is cracking wise with Peter. Michael says he's the sensitive guy and has more on his mind than, quote, pronging chicks, guys.
Which I had to rewind several times because
I did too.
Was like, what?
I did too. Robert, your thoughts?
Pronging chicks sounds fun.
Did you remember that line as a youth? Is what I want to know.
I did not. There's a lot. I mean, I remembered a lot about this movie. I was really surprised at how much of it came back to me, like word for word. Pronging chicks was not in there. I'm sorry to say.
Jack comes up and asks, what's a good drink for pronging chicks? And the 3 of them start to dish. Who says guys can't dish? If women are going to work, guys can dish. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
Hey, yeah, it's a new world. Jack says, what if he gets rid of his lady and they can play some pool and hang out? After all, he's leaving for tomorrow for 10 weeks. And for some reason, that offer is turned down. So maybe they do know something. There doesn't seem to be much affinity with these people. They're turning that offer down for pulling a hang.
I just kept thinking, like, there's no way these guys wouldn't be at each other's throats all the time.
Sharks in the water, man. Yeah. Rivals. Well, the next day, Peter is on the rowing machine, which is large, and he gets a call from Jack, who leaves Peter a message telling him about the package because he hadn't told him the night before. He says it's sensitive. Don't tell anyone about it. They're going to drop it off today, and they're going to pick it up
very casually.
Yep,
very casual. That's the important thing, I think.
But we see Peter jog again later with a giant stack of newspapers. Which
yes, what was that?
Time for a jog with my 10 copies of the New York Times. He goes into his apartment, walks right by a bassinet. Whoa, double taking. He calls Michael. Asks what is going on. He thinks Michael's playing a joke on him. The joke where you put a baby outside your apartment and leave it there.
That classic prank.
When Michael comes out, he thinks that Peter's played the joke on him, which makes a little bit more sense because Peter's there. But anyway, keeps going on and on. But there's a note. And it reads, "Dear Jack, this is your baby." Michael says, "I knew it. I knew this would happen sooner or later." Yeah, it's gonna, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Either that or a venereal disease.
Right.
Well, that's what I kept thinking of the whole movie. I was like, no wonder all these people wound up dying from horrible diseases.
Ooh.
I mean, come on.
Only in the Touchstone season can we say
only
stuff
in the
like
Touchstone
that.
canon.
That's terrible.
Oh, boy. Whew, I wasn't ready for that comment. Okay. Eventually, they carry the bassinet into the apartment. The baby is crying. Peter and Michael are arguing. Peter says, "We need to feed it, then it'll stop crying." When questioned, Peter says, "Babies eat soft stuff. We were babies once. For God's sake, what did we eat?" I mean, would that really be the conversation? I already starting to be like, even men
in this time.
Would they say stuff this ridiculous? I don't think so.
You know what's a fun movie thing that makes for a fun movie is a screaming baby.
Yes. Well, they're pitching to the Elise McSwains right here.
Definitely.
It's about time it's your turn to take care of a stupid. Yeah, you try to figure it out.
It's like I'm in the room with her. It's crazy.
So the hijinks begins. The baby's, I meant to say, the baby's name is Mary, which is very important to the story. Mary.
Mm.
Yeah. Baby starts crying. They both refuse to pick it up. Peter goes to get baby food, leaving Michael to entertain the baby. Michael is trying to do a routine instead of picking up the baby, showing a baby an ashtray. Loving it.
Why is he doing bits and not picking up the baby? Like, you know to pick up the baby. How are you this bad at baby? How could anybody be this bad at baby?
I don't know what it needs. Maybe I'll tell it a joke. It doesn't even understand language.
He's like escalating the energy constantly instead of taking things down.
I think there were a lot of men like this at that time.
Could be.
I don't know. I really do. I think they really were just like completely, because we had, when did there was this movement at some point where it was like, all right, now the man needs to help out just as much, raising the child. And I think they were still, kind of behind at this point.
So these were the guys that would have been out in the waiting room smoking cigars.
Yeah, but they're not even there yet. They're not even thinking about babies. So maybe Andy's right. Maybe it is.
I think you're right.
A realistic portrayal.
Okay,
it seems very hard to fathom, but yeah,
$240 million of people saying.
I was going to say that is striking a nerve. So it can't be that far off, right? If it's this successful for this product, perhaps.
I mean, there were tones that I recognized in myself. I was like, I remember that feeling because I didn't really hold the kids until my own children came along.
Yeah.
And so there was
something.
of course, I think now I would have known to pick up a kid. Maybe even before I had my children, I knew how to pick up a kid. But there was, I recognized that fear of just being like, oh gosh, what do we do? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Peter is running around his grocery store, which is really something. It's kind of like a proto Costco. What kind of grocery store is this?
For New York City, too.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Well, I'll tell you, the long shot, Nemo pulled it off there. That's great. Or Nimoy, pardon me, not Nemo.
I like Nemo. Captain Nemo.
And now you wipe the poo from the baby's bottom.
I want the Pampers. The Pampers. Michael has Johnny Cool out, the puppet, and is talking in his weird accent back at the apartment. Baby keeps crying. Back at the grocery store, Peter asks the clerk, "Is this a good meal for a baby?" Clerk says, "No, that food is for a toddler." What baby food is for a toddler?
I don't know. This is where I admit I would be clueless too as to which variant of things. Also, the clerk on the way there though, Dave Foley from Kids in the Hall. In a one-line role, pointing him towards the baby aisle,
which was funny because he said, he sends him over. And then he runs over there and then gets to that baby aisle and then it's just nothing but baby stuff. I remember my mother laughing out loud at that shot.
My mother too. Yes,
that's
my mother too.
It's so true. There is so much baby stuff that they need to
You try to pick out something for the babies.
Baby stuff everywhere.
Yeah, you try to figure out what Pampers fit and tell me. Anyway, Peter and the clerk begin a Abbott and Costello style exchange. She's like, "It's your first. I knew it," and all that. Says, "Do you know what you choose for your baby to eat in the first 12 months can determine its entire physical and psychological future?"
Eggheads.
I like the part where he said, "What's the most popular brand?" And she shows him, and he says, "So this is the best?" And she says, "No, it's the cheapest. That's why it's the most popular."
that made me laugh, actually.
That was pretty funny.
I enjoyed his incredulity throughout this scene of just being completely clueless was pretty good.
But there's something here though that confused me. Like, why is he not just saying, "I'm babysitting for my roommate's child"? Yes. Why is he acting like it's his? Why can't he just say the truth? I don't know anything about kids. Point me in the right direction. This is my roommate's kid.
What drives me crazy about movies is when people do stuff like this. I'm like, you could just say, if I ever make a movie, I'm never going to do something like that. If it's easier to say something like that, okay, just put me down right now. It drives me crazy.
I guess it's the same thing as why doesn't the man stop and ask for directions kind of a thing. It's like, I know what I'm doing. And I don't need someone to, I think
Andy, you're really coming to bat.
Andy is the voice of reason tonight.
That's right. That's right. Guys, leave it alone. It's sleeping in the baby. Give it some slack.
You're overthinking it.
That's right. Totally reasonable. She says, "No, that one has iron, which makes babies throw up if they're allergic to it. Of course, they'll throw up all the time regardless," which horrifies poor Peter. He doesn't know how old the baby is, which bothers her. He says she's about this big. If you have to,
but again, she's like, "You don't know how big your baby is." I'd be like, "It's not my baby. It's just this baby that I have to take care of right now."
If the baby's less than 3 months, you have to sterilize the nipples. Womp, womp, womp. I don't know what that means.
Nipples. But he's like, "It's this big." And he shows her with his hands. That's funny.
Yeah, it's like this much baby.
That's funny. Yeah. My baby's this amount of old.
Yeah.
Well, back at the apartment, Michael has a scuba mask on. Like, that's going to help. That's terrible. Come on.
Yeah, it's
going to give the baby $10 if it'll stop. That's what he would do. He finally picks up the baby and yells at her nonstop. Not really going to work holding her if you're yelling at her. Turns on the TV. Dr. Ruth is talking about mature things. Well, that won't do. Guys, Touchstone. Really going for it.
Touchstone. They really touched the stone with this one.
Yeah. Someone knocks at the door. It's a lady. She's asking about what the deal is. Brings a package from downstairs. a package. She, of course, picks up the baby and holds her quietly, and the baby stops crying. Because that's what they do sometimes.
So this is Mrs. Hathaway. Who was Mrs. Hathaway? What was her? Why was she there?
According to the
she's
internet,
bringing the package, Andy.
She was
She's
like
the wheelman.
the building manager or something to that effect.
The landlady.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she
loves babies.
She's the super.
She loves babies, but she can't have them. Why, Robert?
Low sperm count.
Mr. Hathaway does have.
Touchstone. Hello.
He's one cackle in the audience of,
Guttenberg's like, some guys have all the luck or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's get all the luck.
After that nice bit of info, she says, "You do realize this baby has made a doodle." Well, a look of horror comes over Michael's face. She asks if he needs help changing her, and he says, "No, I'm used to it." Again.
Yeah.
Again. Tell the truth.
You say
I guess,
yes.
yeah.
That'd be great. I'm watching this baby for someone else. I need help. Kicks her out. Peter gets back. He's in a poor mood because he's been to 3 different stores, bought every baby food and diaper and what all imaginable. The two set about to change the diaper, and ladies across the country lose their ever-loving minds in the theaters. Throwing popcorn.
I know my mom did. She thought this was hysterical too.
Yes. Oh, I do like when Michael says, "She's a girl. Should we be doing this?" Great question.
Yeah.
Usually.
Again, though, I remember the fear of changing the diaper the first time. I remember.
Oh, I'm sure.
And how
you never forget your first time changing a diaper. That's true.
Yeah. I mean, it was.
No, it's real.
Yeah.
I mean, my problem with this is that it was too real. This scene. Too real for my comfort being a non-diaper changer person. It's like, whoa.
I got angst when they got the cotton balls out, which
God,
no.
no.
That gave me angst. Cotton wipes. Says cleaning fluids needed to get this off. Michael says, "How about aftershave?"
We need some sort of cleaning fluid.
He's so bad.
Selleck is great.
So bad. Selleck's great.
Selleck's great in this, but Guttenberg, this scene is just it's just awkward, and I just don't like him in it at all.
Diapers are huge. Men can't change diapers.
Right? Because he goes, "They're super absorbent."
And he's so like defensive about it. It's great.
And we get the pee joke, of course. They put on the diaper falls off, and there's peeing. Michael says, "I think we're in trouble." I'd agree. Michael is seen after time has passed. He's cleaning off the couch. Peter is putting the diaper in a trash can with no liner, which
that drove me crazy.
Yes, like, man, y'all,
Big mistake.
yeah, you're gonna want the liner in. Giving the baby a bath in the sink, spraying her rump with a turkey baster.
That made me laugh for some reason.
And it pooped again. So Michael washes the blanket it pooped in, which I thought was pretty funny. Guys, this is the core of the movie, I think. Right.
This must have had him rolling in the aisles.
These men cannot change the diaper.
I would have loved to know how that breakdown of the demographic of where the viewers for this $200 million. I wonder how many were men and how many were women who saw this movie.
That would be good to know, wouldn't it?
Women taking men. Men who were taken by their women to go.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I like Magnum PI. Should be fun. Cheers.
Should be pleasant. Looking forward to this.
Should be good. I like babies too. I've got a baby. I don't care. Later that night, like 3 men, just like me and my friends. Later that night, Peter is holding the baby, falling asleep while she contentedly drinks milk. Peter's got it, guys. Peter's got this. Let Peter do it.
Yeah.
Just let Peter do it. Michael rocks the baby and is about to fall asleep later. He tells Peter, "We got to get some help." Well, Peter says, "Jack said it's a delicate situation. We cannot tell anybody." Just at that time, they hear Mary crying, and Michael heads off to help while Peter puts some baby formula into his coffee. Finally, Mary falls asleep. Next day, we see Peter dragging around a construction site. Michael is back home with Mary. Both are trying to navigate their lives with Mary. She's on Peter's drawings, and she's on Michael's comics. This simply will not work. Peter says to the distance, "Jack, you're a dead man." And so with that threatening yet kind promise of death, we end Act 1.
Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must say, oh, good night, sweetheart. Good night. Good night, sweetheart.
Well, someone's at the door. Who could it be? Peter answers the door to find Rebecca and a cellist. She's brought along a
It's
cellist.
always Rebecca. Why?
It
It's
always
Rebecca.
is. Yeah. The cellist is from Hungary. He's playing at Carnegie Hall. She's brought him along because Peter said there was an emergency, so he takes her and the cellist to the baby. We get the mandatory...
Is this where the Ghostbusters 2 thing came from?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Why is it always a cellist?
Yeah.
In this, a Slavic cellist. I don't know. We get the mandatory confusion about whose baby it is. Oh, his baby. Oh, no, it's Jack's. Where'd it come from? Heaven. Peter goes on a monologue about how much trouble he's having with the baby and asks Rebecca what he should do because she's a woman, of course. She points out that doesn't automatically mean she knows what to do with baby. She's a modern contemporary woman. She shops a contemporary woman at the Contemporary Resort.
You can tell she's contemporary because her hair's wet, and she don't care. It's
She doesn't care. She'll catch cold out there. She doesn't care. Peter asks Rebecca to stay with him and help. I love this. Stay with me and take care of this baby, please. And she's like, no. The cellist is like, oh, we got to go. So it becomes apparent the cellist is her date in their open relationship. Rebecca is not keen on staying around for the baby because she's got places to go and things to do. She's got deals to close and torts to tort. Another doodle happens. And this sends Rebecca.
Okay,
and
let's back up here because
yeah,
the cellist recognizes the doodle and goes,
Yeah.
"Oh, doodle." Was this a normalized term in the 80s that I just missed out on, or
No,
I don't think so. Okay. I think it's movie magic.
Could be.
okay?
Yes.
Although
is this
if we-
the movie
if we-
magic term?
If we used
Either
our
that or hairy chests.
standard rating system, I felt that Doodle would be the rating system for this film.
that rubric
How many,
for the night.
how many
Yeah.
doodles?
How many
many
doodles
doodles?
did it get? Oh, true. We have another difficulties with feeding scene as Peter and Michael discuss all they're missing out on lady-wise while they take care of the kid. They're missing out on dates. They start to squabble.
Okay, Andy, you're the voice of reason here.
Yeah.
Yeah, naturally.
So, in this episode, we got two guys, at least one of which Peter's loaded, is what we've come to the conclusion.
Yeah.
Why not pick up the Yellow Pages in New York City and find a nanny, come over, and help them out, because you
good
know
call.
that place is awash with them.
It makes sense.
I mean, yes, it makes sense.
That would have been the first thing I would have done. The very first thing I would have done. I don't know about babies. I got a pile of money here. I'm
I
calling
might call the
nanny.
police
It's just-
first.
I would have
think I
called
would
the
call the
police
police.
first. Yes. In a running theme throughout this movie, I would have gone first to the police.
But guys, it's a sensitive issue. No cops.
No cops.
and no nannies.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. They don't want to involve any more people than they have to.
It.
Maybe that's what the problem is.
Don't bring in Smokey unless you can help it. They kind of get in a fight, Peter and Michael do, until Michael accidentally explodes baby powder all over the place. And I love Peter's like, you're cleaning that up.
It's a great read.
It's a good read.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Next day, they're waiting for the guys to come pick up Jack's package, quote unquote, as promised. They're eagerly looking forward to these guys showing up because they've both got business and meetings to take care of. They've got things to do. Publishers and building men and
industry.
Men who dare and plan. Yes. Get another doodle, ding dong, and Peter offers Michael $1,000 to take care of it, and another good line read, a deadpan line read.
I still use that. I say that to my wife. Like my kids need something, I'm like, I'll give you $1,000 to do.
Two sketchy guys, not very intimidating guys. Show up at the apartment and ring the bell. These are the most affable, like, drug thug guys ever.
Well, I mean, one of them's Wilson from
So it is.
I did not catch that.
Yeah, the big guy. Yeah,
he didn't have a fence
I saw him at first.
him.
I was like, that's
like I recognize
fence to really make it
a quarter of that man's face. Anyway, they're here to pick up the package. Michael assumes, of course, that means the baby. So he goes on like an indignant monologue about how Sylvia's got a lot of nerve dumping her problems in our laps. And we thought about calling the cops, which you should have. This alarms the guys. And they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We get some street talk, we start to realize there's been a big mistake. Michael's still a little behind. Peter's a little behind too. Peter shows up and gives the guys the baby, and they're very confused. I enjoyed this confusion of the thugs about being handed a baby. It's ridiculous.
That made me laugh.
It's they're like, so we
maybe mad
take the baby or what?
Well, I like how they quickly are like,
yeah.
oh yeah, the baby, yeah,
the baby, right?
Yeah,
and the
powdered milk.
They get him some. I'll get you some powdered milk, and they're like, oh, powdered milk, yes, very good, sir. Everybody gets confused. The guy's like, we're supposed to take the baby. And Peter's like, that's the plan. They're like, that's the plan. Oh, what?
But that's when Peter's like, that's when his alarm goes off.
He's starting, his spidey sense is tingling here. The guys take off with the baby.
Drug dealers.
Yeah. I just handed a baby to a couple of drug dealers. So something's weird. But yeah, Peter tells Michael something's up, but he can't figure out what. But just then he sits on the couch. He notices the actual package, that Michael had like just kind of tossed off into the air when it arrived, and it landed like in the couch cushions. So he finds that. He starts to put two and two together. He asks Michael about it, and he's like, what's this? And that's the package that what's her name brought it Sunday. So they finally put it all together, and so Peter takes off in a sprint in pursuit of the guys and the baby. So the elevator is too slow, so he heads down the stairway, and the two guys are leaving the building. There are other mysterious fellows looking on as all this is happening. The drug guys are about to put the baby in the trunk of their car because, hey, put it in the car. Okay. Wait, you can't put baby in trunk. Oh, inside the building, Peter takes a fall as he comes down the stairs and accidentally tears open the package, revealing the contents. Little bags of somethings.
The music cue that's happening during all this, it's they use it throughout the movie. Anytime there's some sort of like action scene, and it's just got that, but it's like totally 80s.
Is it Axel F adjacent?
Yeah, I mean, it's got that synthesizer, digital keyboard kind of thing going on.
I have a question for our film guy, Robert. Did they not close off the street? It looks like people are looking at the camera who are driving around and like stopping and be like, "Buh."
I mean, it's New York. I mean, I've never shot in New York. Well, I guess I have, but not like on a street.
Not with a baby.
And not with a baby.
Not with drugs.
Not with Tom Selleck.
They may have had part of it open. I mean, I've heard stories of that. I didn't have to deal with that. And a lot of times the filmmakers just are like, New Yorkers don't care. 9 times out of 10, they won't bother you.
It's crazy.
Touchstone movies, no cops. Hello.
We don't have the money to close off the street.
No money to close off the street. Everybody gets on the screen. Hello.
Is that Spock?
Mr. Spock.
Mr. Spock was around the corner smoking. I missed it.
I heard Mr. Spock was very good with babies. Hello. He wrote a book.
And we'll have Spock direct it. It's French. He's doing Body Wars. We're going to call it Body Wars, by the way. As I said, one of the mooks realizes he can't put the baby in the trunk. I was like, hey, wait, I can't put a baby in a trunk. And the other guy's like, go do it. Peter comes running out and says, oops, I gave you the wrong package. First he tries to take the baby back, and they get in a tug of war over the baby. I don't know why the other guy is trying to keep the baby, but he is. And then Wilson from Home Improvement is pulling a gun out of the glove compartment of their snazzy little sports car.
2-seater.
Yeah, their little like MG or whatever it is. And a mounted policeman shows up. Hey, he's got to ask what's going on. What's going on?
New York's finest right here.
You putting a baby in a truck? Hey, don't do that.
Can't do that.
And you're double parked. The bad guys, drug guys, don't double park. You're going to get in trouble. So the cop asks for all their licenses and registrations, and Peter finally wrests the baby away from the drug guy, who grabs the powdered milk, jumps in the car, and they kind of peel out. Hey, where are you going? So the cop turns on Peter instead of worrying about the guys who sped off in the car. He turns on Peter, asks him for his ID. Peter doesn't have his ID on him, and he's getting ready to frisk him. Of course, he's got the drugs tucked away in his vest pocket. So he's like, no, why don't we just go up to my apartment? And the cop's like, okay. And they go up to the apartment. So Peter gets to Michael and like hands him the package and reveals that it's full of drugs. Says, do something with this while I deal with the cop. Which he goes to the cop, shows him ID. He has to take it out of its holder because he's got a special ID holder. And the cop won't touch it. So the cop's like, okay. And he starts to leave. So they go to the elevator.
I feel like that cop was like a real cop.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy he did a good job. He was very authentic.
Very cop-like.
He was the real deal. I mean, he's mounted.
Yeah, mounted
police
cop.
officer.
Yeah.
It's like the security guard in Kraft salutes Walt Disney World's 10th anniversary.
Exactly. Yeah, he was the real deal.
No
for
doubt,
sure.
he was real.
I've already taken out miles Manhattan to scan. So they're headed to the elevator to see the cop away, but the door's open, and one of the mysterious figures from before is inside, and it's Detective Sergeant Milkowitz from Narcotics. Getting real Police Quest vibes here now. So the detective comes into the apartment. In the other room, Michael's doing surgery on a diaper. He like hides the drugs in the lining of the diaper. I'm like, Michael, you've done this before. This is like professional, like razor X-Acto knives and stuff.
Well, that's how he came up with Johnny Cool.
It doesn't take this long. Can you just flush it down the toilet?
There's a reason
That's
they call him
exactly
Johnny
what I had in my
Cool.
notes. Like, why not just
Yes,
get rid of
down
it
the toilet.
Why does it have to go in a diaper?
It's like
it'd be the
inside
last place
lining.
you'll look?
Probably true.
So, Peter and the detective are having some awkward chat, and the detective goes in the room where Michael is putting the diaper on the baby. And we get more awkward chat, and like the detective wants to hold the baby, and Michael's like, no. And Peter's like, yeah. Michael's like, no. And the detective's like, yeah. And Michael's doing charades with Peter as Peter trying to tell him about the drugs in the diaper. But the detective's like, oh, this baby has a diaper that's full of something. And they're like, oh, no. But he thinks it's poo. So Michael finally gets the baby away. The detective asks if Peter knows a man in a photo. And it's the friend of Jack's we saw at the party, Paul Milner, which I love that every time they mention him in the movie, they call him Paul Milner, which I don't know. It's just funny to me for some reason. Like, we've got to find Paul Milner. Anyway, he's the guy who set up the drug drop-off. Apparently, he is a TV director who dabbles in heroin smuggling. I'm telling you, why are you even going to mess with the TV directing if you got the heroin smuggling going on? I don't know. But Peter goes off to get the detective a glass of water, which allows the detective to like snoop around. He's checking in the bassinet. He's looking.
It's been a great job
Phone
for
rings.
that detective in Seinfeld, that guy.
Yes.
He'd have been great in this role.
Yes. You mean the
Yes, thank
Bookman?
you. I couldn't think of his name.
Yes.
Yeah, Bookman
I mean,
would have
this
been
guy
good.
was Bookman adjacent for sure.
He was, totally.
The library
Yes.
detective.
So, the phone rings, the machine picks up. Peter grabs the kitchen extension, which is like a Mayberry phone. I don't know where they got
Part of this
but I'm
insane
kinda
set
jealous
dressing
of
they
it.
did. Like everything
Yes.
was like just a little bit different and unique, and it was wild. I mean,
like a
and their
TGI
kitchen is like
Fridays,
a Wendy's with like. Did they have like parrots?
The Solarium.
They have
The Wendy's with the
like it's crazy.
It was kind of like a kitchen from Star Wars, like OG Star Wars, with like skylights and vegetables
Blue
hanging
milk and
in
everything.
things.
natural lighting.
Yeah.
And there were like pigeons in the background. Did you
Oh, I
notice
thought that was
as
like
well?
parrots or cockatoos or something. It's pigeons.
No, yeah, because I thought that too. And I looked back and it was pigeons, yep, on a ledge.
They were going, hey. Anyway, he grabs his Mayberry phone, but the detective can still hear the call coming in over the machine. That old gag. It's Jack. He's calling from the Casbah or something. He's returning Peter's call. They had said, we've got something important we have to tell you. They didn't tell him, but it's something important.
He says that it took him he says, now's not a good time, Jack. And he goes, no, it took me an hour to make this call. And I was like, whoa, what's so hard about placing a call from Turkey?
In like 1987. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like it's
I
not.
didn't understand.
Before the war. Jack starts going on about all this stuff. He's like, I bought you so much stuff in Turkey because it's so cheap. I'll have to smuggle it through customs. Ha 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 ha. And
I thought this was funny. I thought that was great.
the detective's like,
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good too.
Is this when he's wearing his Launchpad McQuack?
yes,
Yes.
yes, he is. Which now that's a movie I would be intrigued by.
With Ted Danson.
With Ted
That's like
Danson.
the,
No.
the live
Yeah, it would have
action
to be Ted
remake
Danson.
is Ted Danson as Launchpad McQuack. I love it. Launchpad.
Oh yeah, Mr. McD.
He'd be good.
Anyway,
He could do it.
he
That's
would
what I'm
be.
saying. He can do it.
Yeah.
He's got the height.
The detective is very pleased by all this. He's like, I've got you now. So he just leaves, as you do. Peter and Michael wonder if Jack is involved with the drug stuff. Peter says, we've got to talk to Paul Milner. So they grab Jack's little black book.
Paul
find
Milner.
Paul Milner's phone number. Paul Milner.
Not just any Paul.
Paul Milner. Not your average Paul. Paul Milner. Michael says he's hidden the drugs at the bottom of the dirty diaper pail, which, love that smell
no
when
wonder.
it's been in the diaper pail.
Means there's dope messing around with that other doodle. Dope and doodle.
Dope and doodle. Who put dope in my doodle? Who put doodle in my dope?
That was Eisner's other name for this movie. I got it. Call it dope and doodle.
Discuss.
Breck thought it was hilarious. Hello. Michael says, the other thing that this points out, besides the fact that we've got all these drugs, no one's coming to pick up the baby and we're stuck with it. So they're like, oh. And then also Paul Milner's phone is disconnected, so they can't get him either. Paul Milner skipped town. So they're trying to figure out what to do next. Mrs. Hathaway shows up and says that a horse has befouled the front sidewalk. So that's just a little stinger at the end of the scene there for you.
Are they the only tenants in this building? I mean, why does Miss Hathaway? Why didn't she go bother someone else?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they must be like taking up an entire floor with this complex of apartment they've got. So yeah, for sure. It's like what if it's like across from the Ghostbusters apartment building?
Could be
like on the same floor.
Well, it is.
It was built by the same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's close. Like, because I was just reading, it was like a block away from where they shot Ghostbusters.
Oh,
It's the ground
wow.
level part.
It's Central Park,
Vince
right? I mean,
Glorto designed it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Central Park West area. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. What do you know? It's been a busy decade, a busy few years for those guys.
Yeah, they're like, man, we really had to rebuild the apartment after everything got totally blown up a couple of years ago.
After the Stay Puft Man came through. So, well, they head off for their jobs. They've got jobs to do because they're businessmen. And two plainclothes cops give pursuit. The two drug guys are watching too. Everybody's watching everybody. In my favorite scene of the movie, Peter stops at some sort of stand, which is operated by an old lady and Colin Quinn.
Yes.
Colin Quinn, who I
missed that.
So when I saw this scene, I was like, there's something wrong with this guy. And then in the credits, I saw it was Colin Quinn. I was like, oh, there was something wrong with that guy. It was Colin Quinn.
There's a lot wrong with that guy. Yeah.
Peter
In
stopped.
my early days on being on Twitter, I sent out a tweet saying, I guess if you ask me, my favorite Colin Quinn role was clerk, news clerk or whatever in 3 Men and a Baby. And I tagged Colin Quinn really hoping he would reply. And he didn't reply. And I was very sad.
Oh, that's a
I
disappointment.
don't understand this joke.
Well, I don't know. I'm funny.
That's not a dinosaur.
So Peter stops at this stand and he does the thing from American Graffiti and The Simpsons, where he asks for a bunch of normal stuff and then an embarrassing thing.
But his order was, go ahead.
Sports Illustrated, a Scientific American, and I don't remember what else, like gum or something, and just random things, and a toy giraffe. Gasp. Because they've got little plastic toy giraffes. But Colin Quinn insists it's a dinosaur.
It's so weird.
Why?
So
it's
weird.
a dinosaur.
Oh, it's a dinosaur.
See, it's got dinosaur
you guys-
things on its head. And he's like, okay.
Now, that's not just any dinosaur, though. Excuse me, I called it a dinosaur. See, Colin, I got mixed up. That's
Sophie,
the
exactly.
giraffe. That's a
Yes.
famous. That's
Really?
It's a legend. Yeah,
baby toy.
We had a
Yeah.
Sophie.
I was unaware
Yeah.
of this.
Yeah, we had
Yeah.
a Sophie too. Yeah, I forgot
It's
about
a great
that.
dinosaur toy.
I mean, obviously, such a high-profile giraffe that it would be featured at a random newsstand on the streets of New York.
It's hilarious. There was like a whole
Yeah.
row of them too. It's like a
We
bunch
got the smokes, we got the papers, we got the gum, and we got the little giraffes. My friend thinks it's a dinosaur, but he got dropped on his head as a child. Anyway, Peter takes all his swag and heads home.
Oh, so I was expecting it to be Andrew Dice Clay kind of stuff. Oh, look at that dinosaur. Oh,
Yeah, forget about it.
He passes like a construction site, and the guys like lower their glasses and follow him, like looking at him like, oh, that dinosaur.
there's that music cue again too.
Peter, being a man of the street, realizes he's being followed.
I know. He's so savvy, man.
This
Yeah.
guy.
He's
Well, Well, these cops aren't very good at it either, too.
I got the one with the mustache. I'm gonna ram him.
I'm gonna ram him. He opens his apartment door. He gets home. He finds his apartment ransacked and Mrs. Hathaway duct taped up. She's all bound and gagged. What an amazing twist for a wacky movie about 3 men and a baby.
This is getting a little far off the reservation at this point for my taste. Like,
yeah.
It's like poor Miss Hathaway. Like no one
cared about Miss Hathaway. But it's like there's no
like
time. There's no time to follow up on anything. It's like just go, keep going. This movie must continue.
And we never see her
Get
again.
rid of Miss Hathaway. Send her downstairs.
So maybe she died. Like
she
lose the Hathaway. Hello.
She moved out of New York, man. She had enough. That's it.
I've had enough
Mr.
of this.
Hathaway was a problem already.
Going to upstate.
Crime is on the rise. All these smutty movie theaters.
We're going up.
That's a Giuliani voter right there.
My husband's shooting blanks.
Future Giuliani backer.
Yeah,
absolutely. I wish Disney would come in with a Broadway show and clean things up.
Just take over Times Square. It's so smutty. It's crime is out of hand.
The only crime that my husband has is shooting blanks.
His gun's not loaded.
Whoa. Man.
Touchstone pictures, ladies and gentlemen.
Pictures.
Hello. As if this isn't bad enough. I mean, this scene is bad. We get a steady cam shot following Peter running through the apartment. So it's kind of, we get a little tour of this vast enclave. But the bad guys unspooled all the VHS tapes. Why'd they do that? That must have taken forever.
Mean. All those Jerry West highlights for nothing.
Yeah.
It's right. This is a jerk move, man. That wasn't. They were looking for heroin there.
I mean, it's like
That's right. Oscar Robinson. What?
So Lego has model versions of the Friends apartment, Seinfeld apartment. I think they have
Man,
the
can we
3 men and the
make
baby
that?
apartment.
That would be amazing.
Oh, they need to. I'd buy it.
That'd be really good.
I think, Jeff, that needs to happen at your house as an assignment for the Lego master, the resident builder.
Could do that. I think your Lego enthusiast there can handle it.
Yeah. I have to figure out. I have to get the CAD out and do a CAD of this floor plan. It's so confusing.
I looked for one. I tried to find one. I couldn't find one online.
Use cave technology to explore it and lay it out. Oh my gosh! Yeah, the forest of VHS reel was just traumatizing for me.
That's triggering.
Peter's traumatized. It is. He finds the baby in the closet. They put the baby in the closet. Nobody puts baby in the closet, but they did. And Michael shows up and says, "We got a message." They left a handwritten note saying, "Next time we'll take the baby."
I feel like that was a little bit dark.
Yeah, a little grim.
Yeah,
putting the baby.
Why do they want the baby?
Yeah, well, you don't want the baby. Nobody wants the baby.
Nobody wants the baby.
Well, these are hardened criminals that they're dealing with. So you got to establish it somehow.
Yeah. This is drugs, children. Yes.
This is a
Disney
Touchstone
movie.
It's going to be a place built
Touchstone
where
drug
adults
dealers.
can watch movies together and laugh at mature content.
Threatening babies is our brand. Hello.
This is not your jolly song singing drug dealers that you have in Disney. This is the hard and
We're not talking about Don Knotts here, people.
Way past Benzedrine at this point, guys.
Imagine Don Knotts as those guys.
Don Knotts and Tim Conway as the drug dealers.
That's a movie Ron Miller tried to make, and they wouldn't greenlight it, and then he got booted out.
That's right. Wouldn't greenlight it. That's right.
Well, I suppose he told us to take the baby.
I'll put him in the trunk. I'm going to put him in the trunk. I'm going to put him in the trunk.
Okay.
That's by Tim Conway.
You can't put a baby in a trunk.
What if we just put him in the trunk?
Peter is reading about a boxing bout to the baby. Let's assume it's boxing. It sounds like boxing. Because he's reading about sports. Michael's like, what are you doing? He's like, baby doesn't know. Baby don't care. I'm just talking to the baby. So he puts her to bed and he lies down himself.
That made me laugh
and they go
for
to
some
sleep.
reason.
Yeah, he's like, he doesn't understand the words.
I remember saying the same thing to my wife and I was reading to my kid. And then also I would watch, would be of course, you're up in the middle of the night and I would watch like just crazy random like boxing that would be on in the middle of the night. And it always reminded me of that scene.
See, it is based on a true story.
There you go.
3 Men and a Baby. Hello. Time passes. Someone is entering the apartment. It's the middle of the night. Who is it? Peter hears the door open. He's on guard. He grabs a basketball as a weapon. And I'm like, what's good that's going to do? But I was wrong because he lobs it at the intruder and takes him out. He tackles the guy, but it's Jack. Of course, it's Jack. He's like, it's Jack. And Jack's like, it's me, Jack. But once he realizes it's Jack, Michael attacks him too, which I thought was funny. He's like, I'll kill you. Turns out Jack is back early because his part got cut. Well, Launchpad's out of the picture. Hello. They do some yelling.
They do some yelling for a wealthy duck in Duckburg.
Yeah,
that's it.
A lot of yelling, which wakes up the baby, and they start to brief in Jack on what happened with the baby and the heroin and the note and the things and
very sensitive.
Jack's like, I didn't know what was going to be in the package, but he does remember Sylvia from the baby's note, so at least he remembers her. That's nice. Michael still wants to kill him, but Peter says, oh, we don't have to. This was funny. Peter's like, oh, we don't have to kill him. They just give him the baby instead. And tell him, she's all yours. Good night. And they're like, yes, he's got it well in hand. So they very passive aggressively wish him good night and take off to play some pool while Jack freaks out in the other room. Their chill passive aggressiveness amused me quite a bit with this. They're like, no need.
Yeah, for sure.
No need to kill him. Just give him the baby.
He's like, not on the silk sheets.
I tell you, I have no memory at all of Jack's character being that way. Just kind of like the joke for so much of the movie. No memory of that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. He's having all the problems they had earlier,
right? And
they're in the other room and they're just loving it because they're hearing him go through all the steps of torture. They're like, are we going to help him? Nah. So the next day, Jack is trying to reach Paul Milner. And
Paul Milner?
He's calling Paul Milner everywhere. He's also trying to find his baby mama. No luck there. He's struggling to do all of this and take care of the baby at the same time. Out of desperation, he calls his own mom, who turns out to be Celeste Holm, who shows up. And she's delighted by the baby.
Delighted and delightful.
She practically glows with grandmotherly love. Jack is buttering her up big time and really obviously. She says, cut the crap, tell me what you want, which I loved. He's like, he wants mom to take the baby and take care of her. And she's like, no. Says, you've always run away from responsibility. Now you have to turn and face it. And he's like, oh, but I'm a screw up, Ma. She's like, you were a screw up. Now you're a father. Your dad was a screw up. He turned out fine. So see ya. And she leaves and is never heard from again.
This is the famous scene, isn't it? About the rumor about the kid.
Oh, isn't this the one?
Please tell me.
Oh, so I remember this. This was like one of those common knowledge things, like that every kid kind of knew about. Which is the rumor was that this scene was shot in an apartment where a kid killed him, had died or something, and so in the background behind the mom, you could see the silhouette, and they said that's the ghost of this kid. Whoa. And turns out it was not. It's the cutout of Jack that you see later. in the movie, and this wasn't even shot in an apartment. This was shot.
How
in
did that stuff happen?
Like,
I don't understand how that happened back then.
I remember
for every elementary school, everyone knew about
so mad. I don't remember like what time, whether it was like early internet or before. Probably before, and somebody was probably up at Lake Junaluska was telling us this story, and I got so mad because like that's not how anything works. It's like, no, they didn't film it like, let's go to the murder apartment and film our movie. Hello, it's inexpensive.
Hello.
I remember being just unreasonably angry about that rumor for some reason, but you're right, it was everywhere.
Maybe The Parent Trap too.
Yeah,
but not this.
That I would believe. Any number of people could have murdered themselves involved with the Parent Trap too. Yeah. So what's up? Oh, I know what's up. Peter and Michael are going to a concert or show or something. I don't know. It's fancy. Jack's taking care of the baby, and
I got a gun. Let's go to a Broadway show.
Pretty much.
We're in New York.
So they're at the show, and Rebecca makes a comment that gets them to start to worry about leaving Jack with the baby. But Jack's doing great. He's doing bits. He's got it under control pretty much. Jack's getting the hang of things.
But they do a good job of showing it's the young parents who are leaving the kid for the first time, kind of a thing.
Oh yeah, totally. That's what they're doing.
They're just completely worried, and it's like, a lot of parents would not recognize that.
Yeah, that's the gag. Because like Peter calls to check in on the baby, and there's no answer, so he and Michael are nervous, but that's okay because Jack's taking a shower with the baby, singing her a little song, and. So they continue to get no response. So they freak out. They leave the show before the second act. They leave their ladies there. But they arrive home with Jack and the baby. They're fine. They're like, what's up?
These guys are really caring.
Peter and Michael, they try and cover for the fact that they care, but they care. And they were like, we weren't nervous. But Jack calls them out on it. He knows their tricks. Next day, there's just a brief gag where they call in a guy to put a phone in the shower, which he does sarcastically. And that's just a little throwaway gag. Phone in the shower? Never heard of this before.
Thought about that. I remember thinking about that a lot. Being like, wow.
Me too.
Yes. How cool would it be to have a phone in the shower?
Exactly. It's like I could chat on the phone while taking a shower.
Cool?
That'd be great. No, not in hindsight. Now looking back on that, that's kind of creepy and stupid.
I don't know. I'm in the
shower. People get so mad at me when I do it now. Yeah.
I'm in the shower.
Yeah, I don't know. What are you doing? I'm just in the shower. What's up?
Making
Kramer put the disposal in the shower. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, he had a phone in his shower then too. So
yeah,
that episode.
They were headed. Maybe he bought the same apartment after they moved out.
So
anyway, so they get the phone in the shower. Peter gets a message with a newspaper clipping revealing that Paul Milner's in the hospital.
Not Paul Milner.
Turns out Paul Milner got mugged. Paul Milner got mugged. And the note says, "Don't let this happen to you." Dang. And says, "Answer a phone at this time tonight."
I know nothing about the drug trade.
Thank God.
This seems like a lot of trouble for a small box of
It really does
heroin.
seem like a lot. But you know what? If you let anything slip in that business, there's just going to be more slippage. You can't let anything slide, Well, that's what I've heard. So
they said it was like $500,000 worth of heroin is what they said.
Yeah, Peter says that at some point. I'm like, really? Is it really?
In 87 money too. That's a lot of heroin.
That's a lot of, yeah.
That's some good heroin. That's some good age,
Maybe
man.
some was in the baby.
Boom market. This is good heroin. I should take it out and put it on my teeth to see how good it is with my finger.
It's all really suspicious, but not as suspicious as Pete's sunglasses.
Oh,
Did you
man.
notice how big they're? Like late era Prince kind of third eye.
No, I love them. I love them.
glasses.
I mean, is there anything Tom Selleck can't pull off? I mean, he's got the high waisted
I really
khaki
don't think
shorts in this. He can do it all.
He's got the short shorts. He's got a wide short collection, a vast short collection.
Yeah.
So they go to the phone booth where the note tells them to go to the phone booth, and they've kind of worked up the shtick that they're going to do, where Peter's like, "We're going to do things our way, or else we're going to flush the stuff down the toilet." Like he's doing like a gangster imitation, and he's
a tough guy bit.
Tough guy, yeah. I was like, just give him the stuff, man. But he starts to set up
I thought that was Jack's influence. I thought that was the
for
acting
sure.
of Jack.
For sure. This was like all coached up by Jack, guaranteed. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Peter starts to set up a rendezvous at the construction site, which great idea, buddy. And we cut away. At which point I was like, how is this a good idea? Just go to the police. Don't meet the drug dealers at the construction site. That's like drug dealer power-up zone or whatever. Construction site. Jeez, people. Anyway, that night the cop is watching their building, but he sees a pregnant woman leave. Well, that seems odd. A pregnant woman in this economy, but it's Jack, naturally.
Oh,
Jackson drag.
Masters of disguise.
Jackson drag. He's got a baby strapped to his belly under the clothes. You know these actors. They've got all sorts of tricks. Peter and Michael leave the building after and grab a cab, and the police give chase. But then Peter and Michael head down the street, jump out of their cab into another cab, which Jack is driving.
Yeah, how did he?
Where did he get the cab?
Yeah,
He killed the cab driver.
I thought I.
Well, he's an actor, so there's some actors know
That's
everybody.
The cab driver's in the trunk.
Starving actors driving a cab. He borrowed his cab from his actor friend.
Must have been. It was a weird fact to omit because I was really confused.
Agree.
Anyway, they head to the warehouse. The two drug guys show up, and somewhere in some liminal space, Jack is calling the detective on the phone. A lot of public phones in this movie. Really of an era. Jack, yeah. So the drug guys are very closely following the instructions that Peter gave them. To their credit, they're grousing a little bit about it, but they seem amiable. Jack is going in the building himself, but the baby starts crying in the cab because he brought the baby in the cab to the drug deal.
Why did they do that?
Left it alone in a car. I don't know.
Why? No child care.
I guess they didn't.
That's true.
Child
Could
care.
call the
They didn't want to leave it
babysitter,
alone,
but no.
get kidnapped.
Yeah. Well, the last time they left, so the baby with Mrs. Hathaway, something happened. So
thank you, Andy, for keeping us on
that.
the straight and narrow here.
yeah, come on, guys.
He goes back to the crying baby, but there was a doodle, of course, so he's got to take care of that. Back in the building, Peter greets the guys. Michael is hiding in an air duct or something, filming them from a hidden location. And Peter's like,
a camera.
Yeah, he's got his camera. Yeah, his video camera from before.
It seemed extraneous at the time, him having that camera in the first act. But it really
Nothing's
paid
ever
off.
wasted in a Touchstone picture. We always come back.
Consumer electronics are very big today. Hello.
Hello.
What's the storytelling thing? The something Chekhov's gun?
Chekhov's gun. Yeah, Chekhov's camcorder. Yeah.
Chekhov's camcorder.
Peter's like, oh, the drugs are in the elevator behind the control panel. And then he starts to do this, and while one of the guys goes to check. So he starts doing this real performative. Well, we had nothing to do with this, with the drugs, for the camera's sake. And the guy very cooperatively agrees with him. He's like, that is correct. You did not have anything to do with this.
You are correct, sir.
You clearly are not a professional drug dealer. The guys, they get the drugs. They are pretty chill about things, all things considered,
Very
for
pleasant.
drug dealers, gotta say. Yeah, they're like, well, you're forgiven this time, you naughty boy. But don't do it again. They're just a couple of guys who happen to sell the smack, and beat up Paul Milner. But the guys are, they're starting to leave. It's almost over. Everything's safe. And then Michael just falls over in the duct where he's hiding.
Just annoying.
How hard is it to stand up in
Why
a
can't
duck?
he
I
do
don't
anything?
understand. Yeah.
I mean, he's just.
Johnny
like,
Cool could do it.
That's
like
right.
I was like expected a cutaway where there was like a rat or something, or
Yeah, there need to be something to knock him over.
but then he's just like, I just fell over. Well, the mooks start to run after him, and Peter knocks over some pipes that fall on them. Peter and Michael jump in an elevator, a construction elevator, and start to head down, while Jack is somewhere and opening up a big breaker box, and he just starts throwing switches, and he doesn't know what to do. So he hits the wrong
Same
one.
music cue too.
Yeah.
Also just the same music.
Yeah,
Just
got the music
every
cue.
time.
He hits the wrong switch. He strands Peter and Michael in the elevator. Peter is screaming instructions from like halfway up the building to Jack about which button to push, because he knows everything about buildings. So he knows breaker boxes. And this stops the Mooks elevator. So then they get Peter and Michael going again. Then the Popos show up and sirens are blazing. So now basically they've painted a target on themselves with the drug cartel, and we end Act 2.
When the sun goes down and it's getting late, you say it's time for bed. She just takes her time, acting like she never heard a word you said. Little baby wanna hold you tight. She don't ever wanna say goodnight. She's a lover, she wanna be daddy's
The drug guys, their reaction, it's like, oh, Vince, oh, no.
Oh no.
Oh, no. Yeah. All right, well, now it's all good in the hood, everybody, or park rather, because the fellas have gone to a crowded Central Park to toss some disc around. And it's this montage, and they're like having to beat the women off with a stick because these ladies are just loving a man holding a baby.
Chick magnet.
I mean, I know there's
just
a
bait.
lot of unresolved stuff, but I also felt like this felt like a last scene of a movie. It's like, oh, this is ending. This is the end.
Yes, this felt like end credits. Roll credits.
Like,
We're
I guess
done.
they just have the baby now, and everybody's happy, and they're getting all the ladies and having a great time. The end.
Nope.
Because
20 more minutes. Hello.
that process, that process vocal of Peter
Oh, yeah.
Cetera. I mean, that's a part of my. I think of my
Yes.
80s soundtrack in my head.
Absolutely.
I think of his
Absolutely.
voice.
Who will fight
Yeah. No doubt.
honor?
Exactly. In this case, it's Daddy's Girl.
Weird.
But yeah, so the fellas are having a good time. And the montage continues, and Mary's going everywhere with these guys. I mean, she's on the job site with Peter wearing her cute little pink hard hat. And then she's strapped to Jack's back during one of his play
Make it
rehearsals.
work.
Don't take a baby
then
on a
look at-
construction site, though. Don't do that. Come on, man.
And when it's crazy. But then they go to the Aqua Baby class with all the other moms, and they're doing this like taking pictures like the paparazzi. I mean, it's very all so adorbs. And I'm sure probably those ladies, moms / background actresses didn't mind filming that shot either. You know, you've got these three, they were
Although
probably really
Ted
enjoying it.
Danson was wearing like the 1920s, like Harvard men's pool gymnastics,
Right.
like tank top or whatever that was.
Yeah.
Like he's going to go throw a medicine ball around after.
Well, then the montage concludes with the guys trying to do like a bottle trick shot. Essentially, I guess it's like an 80s Dude Perfect kind of sequence where they're like, hop, hey, hop, and they finally get it. But we see like 4 or 5 attempts of them trying to do it. Sometime later. Yeah. Sometime. Okay. I thought you guys were going to talk some more about that.
No, yeah. It's, I mean, they just chose. I thought the whole thing was interesting directorial choice. I mean, it looked like an outtake to me. Like they were trying to get it. And so Nimoy.
Throw the milk again.
Making choices.
Well, sometime later, Jack's having trouble getting Mary to sleep, and the crying is keeping Peter away from Rebecca. And Michael's just there. I just show up in robes. They're like, "Hey, what's going on?" And they decide it's time to try singing a song to her that I think it feels like they've rehearsed previously. And they go into their rendition of the Spaniels' "Good Night, Sweetheart, Good Night," and it does just the trick.
Okay, I got a question here. Now, according to Elise McSwain, friend of the podcast, Ted Danson hated this scene and almost refused to do it. Would not do it. That's all. That's the only context I looked for it. I searched the internet. Did Ted Danson hate doing "Good Night"?
Are you really asking if your mom has a fact right about a movie?
Yeah, well, no evidence on the internet, but she did say it one time.
But
she did watch Good Morning America a lot. I could see Ted Danson being on there going,
Is it because it was shot in the murder apartment?
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe
he kept seeing ghosts.
I thought maybe there was a slim chance somebody else could confirm this.
Call Mary Hart.
Do you have any verification? I mean, I'm sure. Yeah, it could be like he didn't like the singing. Maybe.
Well, his acting makes it look like he's having a good time, because especially when they do the do.
How could you not enjoy that? Come on.
Yeah,
Ted.
Did you? Again, I hate to keep bringing it back to me and my kids. I still sing that song to my kids. I don't know if you guys, when I'm like put them down at night, I'll sing that song to them. They all like it.
The medley, no.
Yeah, mine always went Enter Sandman for some reason.
That's good.
Well, so finally Pete returns back to bed with Rebecca, and she kind of playfully teases him. And then she gets her own rendition of "Good Night, Sweetheart," as we fade to the next morning when we're during Rebecca's walk of shame. She runs into a lady arriving at the apartment who rings the doorbell, and Peter answers. And guys, it's Sylvia. She's there for Mary.
Gosh.
Nancy
She's
Travis.
Got a perm and a half too.
Oh, she does.
And Nancy and her perm.
And this movie, I always thought Nancy Travis was British, when she's not at all. She's from New York.
Isn't that weird? Yeah.
Yep.
It was like, I know who can play British. Nancy Travis.
Hello.
Oh. Well, we get a nice reaction from Tom Selleck as he processes all this news, hearing that Sylvia is there for Mary. And when the mother and daughter reunited, he's just kind of standing there, and he's doing some good work here. It's this judging / understanding. I mean, it's some complicated feelings that he's experiencing. But he goes and gets the other two to tell them the news. And Jack and Sylvia have this awkward reunion. They're just sitting on the opposite ends of the bed. And they start talking through things. And she just kind of says, I'm sorry, which I don't get. I don't understand why Sylvia decided to return for Mary at this point.
Yes.
Because earlier in the middle, she's like, I can't do this. Yeah. And it's because she just misses her. And then she has the expectation to just show back up, and they'll hand Mary right back to her.
Yeah, that was really weird. It's like, oops. You know, I miss her, so I'll take her back. Never mind. I'm clearly a stable person.
Right. Yeah. But so Sylvia says that she's going to return with Mary to London to live with her family because she can't work in New York as an actress. And she can't take care of Mary alone. And so she says, I'm leaving. My flight leaves tonight. And Jack, it's clear that he doesn't want it to happen, but he allows her to go with Mary, and Michael and Peter are helping pack up Mary's things. And they can't believe that Jack's going to go along with it, but they're powerless. They can't do anything because he's the dad. Well, then Sylvia's taxi cab arrives downstairs, and they all help Sylvia and Mary to the car, and giving some final advice about how to take care of her and when her next bottle's ready and all that kind of stuff. And it's a mother and daughter depart. And also something we've not talked about yet is every time there's been a few times in this movie where they've gotten into a car with the baby and they're just holding the baby.
Yeah.
And
the taxi.
I mean, I know this is the 80s. Man. Yeah, this is the 80s, but there's definitely no carriers. There's nothing. They're just going to hold on to that baby.
Put him in the trunk.
Yeah. Well, back upstairs, they're all heartbroken, and Jack is listening to. This time, he's actually listening to "Goodnight, Sweetheart" on his jukebox, and everybody's kind of sitting around drinking, and then Peter finds Mary's little pink hard hat as he's dinking around his office there, and with all the tapes. And Michael's watching some home videos of him and Mary, and it's just very sad and somber. Well, then that evening, Jack is trying to convince himself and the other two that everything's fine. It's cool. Guys like us shouldn't have kids, around. Mary's better off with her mom, and they're all better off now that things can return to normal and start sleeping around again or do whatever it is that they do. Well, then in a moment of masculine vulnerability, Jack finally admits to the others that there's an ache in his heart, and he just really misses Mary. And he knows he made a mistake letting her go, and he just wants her back. And hearing this, they said, well, let's do something about it. And so they take off after Sylvia and Mary. And they know that the flight doesn't leave yet, and so they're hoping to get there in time. So they all jump in a cab, and they dash to JFK. And
they catch the taxi cab drivers.
Yeah,
who that was.
That's what I was going to get to. It's like, and look who it is. It's Volkswagen Golf. It's a Volkswagen Golf, which is from Seinfeld reference from the Puerto Rican day.
I saw him. He was in Seinfeld as the Cherry's friend from Firestorm.
Yeah, he's in there multiple times. But the actor Mario Joyner.
We saw him. He opened for Seinfeld. We saw him.
Yeah,
remember that?
That's right. Yep, he opened when you and I saw him. Then he opened for him when I saw him again at another time. But and so Mario Volkswagen Golf starts talking about his kid and how special it is and how you don't want to miss these moments. And they're like, hey, can you drive faster? And he's like, all right, sure. And they get to the airport, but sadly, they arrive just as the plane is pulling away from the gate. It's really it's a pre 9/11 airport sprint.
Oh my gosh! And I thought the same thing.
Food security. Yep. Up to the gate. Yep.
And again with that same music cue, it's the exact same one. And I was thinking, how much this is one of those scenes where having a cell phone would have changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just being able to call and say, hey, don't do this. And it would have changed the
world, changed the global neighborhood.
It really is wild. Like how many movies from this era and before would have been 1000% different if just for cell phones.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And now we've got it so easy. Nothing ever goes wrong.
That's right.
Well, heartbroken a second time, they return home and hey, but look who it is. It's Mary and Sylvia. They're there just on the doorstep. And Sylvia's in tears, and she says she realized that she was making a mistake returning to London, and she really wants to stay and work in New York, but she can't do that too and raise Mary alone, and she just really needs help. And Jack and Michael are like, yeah, we'll be happy to be Mary's babysitter, but not Pete. Peter, he wants more. He's like, nah, I think, he goes, I want to see her all the time. And he suggests that Mary and Sylvia move in with them and they become her family. And everyone's thrilled with it when Sylvia agrees, and the happy 80s music kicks in. And in the final shot, Michael has updated the apartment mural to include Sylvia and Mary, and they all leave the apartment with a modified stroller so they can all push Mary, and everybody's happy and all is well. And that brings 3 Men and a Baby to a close.
Anybody else think it was weird that it was Peter's idea for them to stay there and not Jack? That the actual father of the child
setting up the.
I think it's a little foreshadowing.
Setting up the second movie there.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, they're not setting up the second one. At this point, they didn't know.
No.
Oh, you're bailing now, Andy?
I'm not bailing out there. Pete has been the voice of reason throughout the entire movie.
He's a self-appointed leader.
Is the aloof. Jack is the aloof actor, and so it makes complete sense.
They still could have ended it in Central Park with them, just forget about who the baby belongs to. It's like, well, we got a baby now. Everything's great. The end.
Yeah. True.
They're just going to build another room.
I can build.
Yeah, I love that.
I
can do that easy.
Blow out that.
Knock down a wall. We had this hidden room we didn't know about.
It's from the fallout shelter.
I don't need all these tapes.
All those broom closets we never use anymore.
All right.
We can take out the 3 panic rooms we have.
That's right.
Enclose the outdoor area.
The
multiple outdoor enclosed
for
areas.
fire code. We don't need
the Wendy's solarium.
Yeah,
we'll take that out. I could cook in that kitchen, boy. Come on now.
Get some blue milk.
That'd be nice. I would not be opposed to that.
With the Mayberry phone.
Yeah, call Sarah on the phone.
Mayberry.
Sarah, get me Mount Pilot.
That's another Touchstone Pictures film in the old tank there. I was trying to think back. Can we update? I mean, we've done Roger Rabbit. We did Splash. We did Turner and Hooch. Is that what we did before this season anymore?
Yeah, I believe that's it. Yeah.
Still feels fresh to me. It's things are said and I'm like, oh my delicate constitution can't handle this salacious content.
Yeah, we're getting into the core of the canon here, really. Yeah.
This is one I do feel it's like this is Touchstone. This is the DNA of what makes a Touchstone a Touchstone.
Huh. This is Touchstone.
Not Armageddon. You didn't feel like Armageddon was the DNA?
I feel like that. I do feel like, in all seriousness, Armageddon was right before they, went to everything has to be Disney. Like, yeah, it's like Michael said. It's like Pirates really torched all of it. It's like really changed.
It's what they call a 4-quadrant film. Hello.
Hello. It's my new strategy. Hello. Speaking of old Mike, I believe we should fire up the old Touchstone rating system here.
Hello, I'm Michael Eisner, head of Walt Disney.
It's the BCS, brought to us by Disney's Wide World of Sports, Topps Trading Cards, all a part of the Go Network. At go.com. Make sure you make it your homepage like I did back in the day, a company man I was. Just start at Go and you can go anywhere you like as long as it's owned by the Disney company. Without further ado, let's rate 3 Men and a Baby. Plot and writing, scale of 1 to 5. course, these averaged in to make an exciting baseball hit. I'm going to throw this to Andy Brown, the defender of the plot and writing at all costs. I'm assuming it's a 5, right? It's going to be high. Oh,
no,
man.
It's not a 5. This movie, I think the general premise is a great idea and makes for a fun movie. I mean, it's neat to see these three bachelors having to deal with this situation and all of a sudden having to grow up and what they have to deal with. So from that point of view, I think that's just knocked out of the park, in my opinion. But there are problems with the storytelling. I agree that there's too much time spent with the drug dealers, and the characters do a lot of things that it's just like, why, like you said, why not just go to the cops, or why not just admit these things here? So to me, it's like a 3.5, but I'm going to be generous and I'm going to round it up and I'm going to give this a 4.
Okay. All right. Robert, you have something to say? You got something to say?
Well, that's surprising. I admit now, watching this, that the heroin plot ran a little long, but and some of it was silly. But I'm going to go with a 4 as well. I mean, for pretty much what Andy said.
Oh, I'm going to defer. Go to Michael. You all are really making me think about this. Michael, help me think clearly.
I've just come to the determination I don't know how to rate Touchstone movies.
I know. It's so hard.
They're so close to being real movies. It's like, when you've got a Boatniks, you rate on a Boatnik scale. But when you got like something like this, it's like you want to rate on like a real movie scale. But it's the 80s.
That's the thing for me, though, is I've always done on this exact same scale for everything. And so
he's got the same scale. Well, we're using a different machine.
You're calibrated.
I don't make exceptions. If it sucks, it sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really let stuff slide because it's awful, but I don't know. It's really hard. I agree with all the comments made about, the subplot is so weird. Like the only benefit of the subplot is the fun of the confusion of like trading the baby to the drug dealers because you think the baby is the package, which is ridiculous. But it is kind of funny. I'll give it a 3, just sort of straight down the middle.
I don't know what to do. I think just in the way that Andy does to bring things to balance, I'm going to say a 3. But you all did give me food for thought in that. I mean, a lot of my problem with this is the 80s-ness of it and the outdated. All these movies are so of their time. It's daunting for me. Mm-hmm. So I think about if you boil it down to the abstract, yes, it's an interesting thing. And even the police thing could be interesting if it wasn't so tinged with 80s-ness. But
mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's still so much that I think it's just not quite. So give it a 3. I'm give it a 3 and move along to casting and acting. I will do this, and I'm going to give it a 4. I feel like, Danson, Selleck. I like them. I like those guys. I think Guttenberg could threaten to pull it down. I wanted to like Guttenberg. I came in wanting to like Guttenberg. I didn't like him. But I found that there was enough there to give it a 4 for me. And we'll go to Robert.
Same thing. Danson and Selleck, love them. I thought they played well together. Good chemistry. Guttenberg, a little shaky. Actually, real shaky at times. But so, yeah, it's going to be a 4.
I mean, again, I'm going to go back to what Andy said earlier. I grade on a curve for Tom Selleck. I'm here for Tom Selleck, and I think he did a lot in this. He played a lot of different notes, and I thought he did it really well. I feel like he was an underrated actor of his time. Michael, what do you think?
I'll give it a 4 as well. Everybody was amiable. I didn't really mind Guttenberg either. He was just sort of written as the more sensitive fellow. But I thought he was all right, and the other guys were great too. So sure, 4. I mean, it's not like there was a huge cast,
right?
There were like 5 people.
Oh, and the baby was great.
And the baby,
Andy.
Yeah, I was going to say that the Lisa Blair and Michelle Blair, the twins who played Mary, was nice baby acting. But you're right. I think Tom Selleck and Danson, this is their movie. Guttenberg just happens to be there. And they just do they really do a great job. So, in fact, if Guttenberg was replaced, or if he was better, I could almost give this a 5. But I think Guttenberg's performance actually does bring it down enough to me to make it a 4.
I waxed about Selleck because I'm a Selleck stan, but Danson could have made his part utterly ridiculous because he is a ridiculous character, but he played it fairly straight, which was just a great choice. I mean, it's just not over the top, and I thought it was really good.
And And I think in addition to just being very natural in what they were doing, they also had to be very natural with the baby. And they had to, the baby is going to be unpredictable. They had to react to whatever the baby was doing. The baby would start crying, and Nancy Travis knew to wait a beat to let this, this next line work. And so I think they all, even Guttenberg, I think they did that really well.
5?
That's a good point.
Andy, what about production value for this one?
I mean, there was nothing. They're on location at times in New York, which is something we always kind of talk about. But honestly, I didn't feel like anything really special about it. I mean, I'm confused by the layout of the apartment. But had the 80s music and all that kind of stuff. So for me, it was just right down the middle, 3.
Hey, Robert.
Yeah, there's nothing stands out to me. I think I thought the music was a little over the top, but again, like you said, it's 80s music, so it's kind of got to be. So yeah, I think right down the middle, the same.
I'm tempted to give this a 4, but just because of the set, but I'm not going to. I thought the music was boring, and I thought it clearly was character-driven, story-driven type of thing, kind of small budget. That said, I do remember, that mural is, a kind of a character in the film, as is their place, but I'm going to stick with the 3. Michael?
Yeah, I feel like this is a movie that could have been a play.
Yes.
I mean, they have some outside shenanigans at some points, but I mean, it's mostly happens in the apartment. And it feels like sort of those early sort of Touchstone discount pictures. So, I mean, the apartment, I'll give it a 3, but I mean, that is all for the apartment set and its ridiculousness. Yeah, that's where it all went to.
Totally. Oh, we didn't talk about Colin Quinn and the casting and acting. Oh. Anyway.
He acted exactly as I would expect Colin Quinn to
very
act,
natural.
is what I'll say.
Entertainment value, Michael. What's the last word here on 3 Minute and a Baby?
I hate to be the one to go first on this. I don't know. This is a 3-5 for me. I mean, I think what you said a lot about of like this skeeviness of the 80s really drags it down for me. Of this, and the sort of way too much of the subplot kind of lost me. But it does move at a pace. It doesn't. Most of my problems are in the first act with where there's just a lot of crying and yelling. And then that's not entertaining to me at all. But they kind of lay off that as it goes on, so that's good. I'll be generous and give it a 4 for me.
I'm going to come right behind you and knock that right down to a 3. I feel like there's a movie out there that is just a little bit better that I would give a B to. So it's a 3.5 for me, but in the, again, knockdown mode, I'm going to go 3. Robert, what about you?
It's going to be a low 3 for me. I just don't think it aged well.
Really? That's not.
No.
So much of it, it's like watching like a time capsule of the 80s, but not in a fun way. And so, it's just a low 3.
I feel like
me.
there are movies that are from this era. I mean, clearly there are movies from this era that have aged better, but even of this scope, that don't seem as defined by the era,
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Andy, we're going to let you have the real last one. What do you think?
This movie, it's not a perfect movie. It's definitely got flaws, but I don't know if it's a bit of what you guys would do in some of your Disney movies with some of the nostalgia, but for me, it's an unapologetic 4. I really like this movie. I think it's fun. I enjoyed it before I had children, and now I enjoy it in a completely different way after having children. And I would be happy to rewatch this anytime. And I'm looking forward to watching the sequel that I'm definitely going to do probably in the next few days.
Well, so we're putting together the Andy Film Festival now with Freaky Friday and this. There's another one in there that he really liked. It's starting to triangulate what's going on here. Good stuff. Well, let's plug this into the BCS, presented by Disney's Wide World of Sports, Topps Trading Cards, and always a part of the Go Network. Robert, what did 3 Men and the Baby get? What's the verdict here?
3 Men and a Baby got a solid triple, almost. Well, I guess it's not almost. It's halfway. They rounded third and took a look at home at a 3.5.
Wow. All right.
They threw up the stop sign. Yeah.
Where does that put us in the pantheon of our other milieu here?
So that's going to finish at 20 in the top 25. It's 24th, coming in below National Treasure, Reasonable John Voight's, and just above Great Mouse Detective, Liver Pills. Actually, tied with National Treasure. Pardon me, tied with National Treasure.
Very different films. National Treasure National Treasure could have been a touchstone in another era for sure, but
definitely.
All right. Well, we've said and rated and talked.
Before we move on, though, let's revisit the sequel thing real quick. So 3 years later, they do come out with 3 Men and a Little Lady, and then that was a very successful movie. Also, so that was 1990. As also another PG movie, different director, but some of the same, mostly the exact same cast, and some of the same, like half the writers are the same as well. And then there had been talk of a third film. It was called like 3 Men and a Bride, which would have been Mary had now grown up and getting married on her own. But that movie has yet to happen. I don't know if we'll ever get that movie, but there is a remake in pre-production already by Disney with, and Zac Efron is attached to this movie. So,
I kept hearing talk about a remake or a reboot, but I haven't followed up with it. So that's interesting. And of course, Zac Efron on it.
I wish they had done the straight sequel when they had the time of. Of course, it would probably just wind up being like Father of the Bride or whatever, but whatever. Fathers of the Bride.
I can get into one now of where like a baby shows up at her doorstep. Yeah, that's the way to do it. No. Why does this keep happening?
It's
to
very
us?
short. There's
Like
3 women who
father,
live
like
together,
son.
and a baby shows up, and they handle it no problem. The end.
Yeah.
That's right. Piece of cake.
This has been a presentation of ESPN. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network. Go.com. ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.
Well, that closes the book on 3 Men and a Baby for us. We have rated and reviewed this to death. But it's time to check in with our critic this year. No Leonard Maltin. No season of Leonard Maltin. We have to go outside the gates to one Mr. Roger Ebert and check in with Andy. Andy, what did Roger Ebert have to say about 3 Men and a Baby?
So Raj had this to say: 3 Men and a Baby begins with too many characters and too much plot. And 15 minutes into the film, I was growing restless. It spends a lot of time describing the lifestyles of 3 bachelors who share a luxury apartment and play host to a never-ending stream of girlfriends. We meet too many of the girlfriends and too many of their friends. Unfortunately, there is also a completely unnecessary subplot to distract from the good stuff. But by the time the movie reaches its predictable but comfortable ending, who cares? Ooh.
And who hurt you, Roger? This is too real.
That was a mix.
He really spends a lot of time talking about the very beginning of the movie. I completely disagree. I don't think it spends that much amount of time, but
Right.
Yeah, like the
I don't think it was
girlfriend.
that jarring.
Stupid.
Oh, the dumb girlfriends. I can get a girlfriend.
I want a girlfriend too. and
I
their
want a
friends.
girlfriend. I'm successful.
Well, that about wraps it up for us tonight. If you have some thoughts about 3 Men and a Baby, maybe you have 3 men and a baby in your life. I don't know. Maybe this movie means the world to you. Maybe you're really mad at some of us for saying stuff about it that was your favorite part. Maybe you wish we would watch 3 Men and a Little Lady. Maybe you wish that there were 3 women and 3 babies.
3 babies and a woman, or 3 babies and a man.
3 babies and a
Maybe
woman.
you have a heroin habit.
Yeah, maybe you wish that you had some heroin. I don't know, but you should email us at info@medfieldfilm.com. You can find us on social media at medfieldfilm. Robert's always working on season X, season 7. Will we do Hollywood Pictures? I don't know what we're doing. Are we going back to Disney? Are we going to do Miramax? It could happen.
Disney movie tunes.
But you should email Robert at the email that I said, info@medfieldfilm.com.
And if you have a heroin problem, email and get some help.
Call Poison Control.
Don't email us for help. We're not going to help you with that.
Just tell you to get help.
We'll just delete it.
Delete it. All right, what's my motivation here? Guys, have you seen my headshots? I have an audition in 30 minutes.
Oh, sorry, Jeff. No time. I'm under a deadline. I have a cartoon due tomorrow for the big New York City newspaper I work for.
Guys, we are under a lot of pressure here. Is this your headshot, Jeff?
Oh, thank you. Where was it?
It's under all these horribly branded comics Michael drew.
What are you talking about? Mr. Cool Fox is the hottest comic in the village.
Yeah, well, maybe if your branding was stronger, he'd be the hottest comic on the West Side. And Jeff, when was the last time you got an acting role?
I did that commercial 3 months ago. People told me they really thought I was constipated. Where do you get off, Andy? Designing bus stops isn't exactly something to be proud of.
Guys, we need to make some changes. I know I'm just sitting around this enormous apartment spinning my wheels all day, but something's got to give.
Oh, I wonder who that could be. Hopefully not my editor.
Who is that?
I don't know.
Why is he just standing there?
Look, there's a note. It says, "Dearest Andy, Michael, and Jeff, here is the sponsor of our podcast. Take good care of him." I'm sorry, this handwriting is awful. I have have to go to Europe and Japan for 6 months. His name is Todd Knapprick. Todd Knapprick. And he does graphic design at BindenGraphics.com on Upworks. Good luck. Love, Robert. It's like a child wrote this.
I heard about this guy when I don't know, shoot, but what are we supposed to do with a graphic designer?
I guess we could put him to work for us.
Let's go all the way. Let's go all the way. Yeah. Let's go all the way.
Wow, it feels like we just went through some sort of weird montage where we all grew and our lives became fuller. Michael, I got a telegram from your editor. It looks like Mr. Cool Fox is getting syndicated.
Wow, that new branding Todd did really paid off. You'd think that a skilled comic artist like myself would be able to handle that, but little did I know that I needed Todd after all. Jeff, who are you taking to the Tonys?
I don't know yet. I have so many phone numbers to pick from. I'm trying to decide which movie of the week to do. Andy, did your design for the new wing at the Guggenheim get accepted?
Oh, yeah, it sure did. And just think, before that strange montage, we were lost. And then Todd came into our lives, and now look at us.
Oh, it's Robert.
Hey, guys, I'm back from Japan and Europe. It was crazy. I'm here to get Todd. He's got a lot of graphics design to do for me. I'll see you all later.
But wait, you're taking Todd?
Yeah, come on, Todd. Let's get going.
But what are we going to do without Todd now?
What's wrong with you guys? It's Todd, for crying out loud. You can call him at 1-800-BINDEN or just go to Upworks. He'll make all the graphics and logos you want. He doesn't have to live with you. It's weird enough you all live together in your 40s. But to live with a graphic designer, that's kind of strange. Okay, peace. I'm out of here. Come on, Todd, let's go.
So from all of us here at this wonderfully mature Touchstone Pictures podcast, all of you out there, smile, darn you, smile, and we'll see you next time.